Hi Stampers, I'm here today to share a pretty card with you. They're both, I'm going to be using products from the mini catalog, the Spring Mini, and also from Celebration, and some items from the annual too. So the first item here that we're going to be using is the Floating and Fluttering, the dies, the Fluttering dies and the Floating and Fluttering stamp set. And you can purchase both of those together, or you can order them separately. If you order them together, you get 10% discount. So it comes to $46.75. And if you, during Celebration, just add another $4 or $5 to that, you'll be up to $50. So add some dimensionals or a stamp pad, and you're up to $50. And at that point, you can get the other stamp set that I'm going to be using today on this card. It's called Heal Your Heart. It's on page 9, and it's got some very pretty fonts. So as you can see, the stamp set with the Floating and Fluttering does not have any greetings with it, so I thought this complemented it very nicely. The Floating and Fluttering stamp set has dies that match, and I have a couple of those that I'll be using today. Let's bring in the supplies that we need. So I have a piece of Daffodil Delight, and this is our normal half sheet card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. You'll also need another piece for the inside. This is our usual 4 by 5 1/4. And then these layers are going to go on top. The basic black is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then the basic white is 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. So let's do our stamping first. I have Memento Black ink. And I have the thank you greeting from the stamp set that I showed you, the Heal Your Heart stamp set. So we're going to ink this up and stamp that down towards the bottom right corner of this piece of basic white. Okay. Then we're going to bring in a scrap. And what I did here is I'm going to use it on my Stamparatus. I love using the Stamparatus. So what we'll do here is ink up. I have the butterflies already on here, mounted on here. And I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to press it down onto a scrap of basic white. And let's pick it up and see if we got everything. Nope. And that's the nice thing about the Stamparatus. If you didn't get it all, you have another chance to keep going until you get the desired look that you want. There we go. That looks pretty good. So we're going to set the black aside. I'm going to bring in the Daffodil Delight. And I want to show you that it's got the coordinating solid pieces here that are going to color in the insides of the butterflies. So all I did with these was I took, once this was already stamped, I took this and laid it on there, and then I knew where it was going to end up. So then you do that with the other two pieces on here too. And pick it up, and then we'll take our Daffodil Delight ink pad and flip it over. And this works great if you're doing multiples. So now we have it filled in with the color that we want. And Stamparatus does come with two plates. So what I'm going to do with the other plate is, what you can do is fill it in. You do the same thing. You would set these two on here where you want them to be. And like I said, this is really great if you're doing multiples. So you set them where you want them, pick them up, and then you will ink them up with, in this case, I'm using Granny Apple Green. So ink up those little guys, and then flip it over, and you'll have it right where you want. So it saves you from having to do things over and over with just one stamp at a time. So we'll remove this, and I have one that's already done over here. And what I did, once I had it all stamped the way I wanted, I took the die, and then you just set the die on top, And it lines up pretty nicely. And then you'll run that through your cutting machine. And you'll end up with this. So let's put our card together. So I've given this a good crease. I'm going to take the black, basic black, and the piece of basic white that I already stamped the thank you on, and glue that on. I like using my green glue. It has a little bit of play with it. If you don't have it centered exactly where you want it, you can always move it around a little bit before it dries. And then that layer can get stamped or get glued right on top of your card base. So we're going to center that on here. And then we'll take the little butterflies and leaves that we've already stamped and cut out, and I'll bring in some dimensionals here just to pop this up and give it a little bit of a 3D look. Let's pop a couple of those on. I'll take the backing off. And just set this on here. It's okay if it goes off a little bit. I think it gives it a little bit more dimension. The next thing we want to do to give it some bling is use some of our rhinestones. The rhinestones are all clear on here, and what I did to color, to get them to have color, is I used the brush side and just colored them. And I like kind of giving it a second to dry and going over it a second time, and that gives it a little bit of a darker color. So these can get placed on, scattered around on your card, just like that. And I have one that's already finished here. So here's our card, nice thank you card. And on the inside, I have another piece of die that I had cut out. I just cut off this little section here and glued that right on there for the inside of our card. And don't forget to do something with the outside on your envelope. You could stamp a couple butterflies on there, either on the flap or on a corner. And here we go with one done in some different colors here. So this is Highland Heather, and this is the Daffodil Delight. Okay, so the items I used here for the Floating and Fluttering card. Here's all the dimensions and everything that I use. So I will leave this here so you can see. And here's our cards, so you can have a peek at those too. And then remember that if you have any questions, just to give me a comment below. And this is how you can get a hold of me if you need me to place an order or ask questions or anything else you can think of. So thanks for following along with me today. And until next time, have a great day.